You are about to watch the true story of Napoleon Bonaparte, one of history's most influential military leaders. In 1798, nearly 35,000 French soldiers crossed the Mediterranean and stepped onto the sprawling sands of Egypt, setting up camp in the shadow of the ancient pyramids. This map of the Mediterranean reveals the primary strategic objective. The French naval route traces a direct strike toward Egypt, deliberately positioning an army to threaten the highly lucrative British trade corridor flowing back and forth from India. A deeper, highly personal ambition drove the French commander. He intended to conquer the region and build a permanent, sprawling Eastern empire to immortalize his own legacy. The sands of Egypt offered a massive stage for a high-stakes gamble. The objective was clear: capture the East, cripple a rival empire, and elevate a successful general into a world-historic conqueror. The moment the French boots hit the shore, the grand illusion of an easy conquest evaporated into the scorching air. Troops clad in heavy European wool marched into an alien environment. The heat reached unbearable extremes, and a severe scarcity of drinking water left thousands of men dangerously dehydrated within days. Waiting for them in this punishing landscape were the Mamluks. Across the Middle East, these warriors were deeply revered for their unmatched courage and lethal combat skill on horseback. Despite the physical exhaustion and the terror of the environment, the command was given to march. The French ranks pushed relentlessly forward toward the waiting enemy. The combination of a hostile environment and a legendary enemy would determine if Napoleon's strategic vision could survive the physical toll of desert warfare. The two massive armies finally met, with the Great Pyramids rising dramatically in the distance, casting a heavy historical weight over the battlefield. Looking at his exhausted men, Napoleon delivered the command that would echo through history: "Soldiers, from the summit of these pyramids, 40 centuries look down upon you." The Mamluk cavalry initiated the engagement, launching a massive, thundering charge at incredible speed straight toward the French lines. This tactical schematic shows the brilliant French countermeasure. Troops quickly arranged into impenetrable defensive squares, fortifying every corner with artillery. The Mamluk cavalry crashed into the formations again and again, only to be relentlessly driven back by coordinated fire. By sunset, the desert floor was quiet. The French had secured a stunning, decisive victory, causing political circles across Europe to celebrate the commander as an unstoppable force. This sweeping victory on foreign soil cemented a growing myth. To those watching from afar, it appeared that destiny itself favored the French army. The glory of the desert victory dissolved a few days later, replaced by a devastating reality unfolding far out at sea. The brilliant British admiral Horatio Nelson had been hunting the Mediterranean. He finally discovered the anchored French fleet sitting exposed in Abu Qir Bay. Nelson launched a ferocious nighttime naval engagement. Cannon fire lit up the darkness as the British systematically obliterated the majority of the French ships. As this map illustrates, the nautical lifeline between France and the Egyptian coast was violently severed. The French army was instantly and completely trapped in Egypt, with no supply lines and no route home. In a matter of hours, an unstoppable conqueror became an isolated commander, stranded in the desert, forced to fight for sheer survival. A grim reality settled over the isolated French camps. Supplies dwindled rapidly, and deadly diseases began to tear through the ranks of the exhausted soldiers. Refusing to surrender, the commander led desperate, grueling expeditions deeper into Egypt and up into Syria, searching for one final, redemptive victory to turn the tide. Despite every tactical effort, the grand dream of forging a permanent Eastern empire systematically collapsed month by month. Then a critical turning point arrived from Europe. Dispatches revealed that France was heavily besieged by enemies, and the government in Paris was dangerously weak, fractured, and chaotic. The military campaign in the East was failing, but in the West, the fragile French Directory was fracturing, creating a path for a military leader to seize control. A shocking decision was made. Leaving the vast majority of the trapped army behind, a small, select detachment secretly slipped away across the open Mediterranean toward France under the cover of night. Many in the military and government viewed this as a reckless, cowardly abandonment of duty. The commander, however, believed a greater political destiny demanded a return. The arrival in Paris met a city exhausted by years of revolutionary turmoil. The public was desperate for a strong leader, capable of restoring order to the streets. Fueled by the legends of his desert victories, the public greeted him as a bringer of order, overlooking the thousands of soldiers left behind in Egypt. The legend of the Egyptian gamble served its ultimate purpose, providing the political capital needed to transition from a conqueror of battlefields to the conqueror of an entire nation. To be continued in Part 6. Next part, From General to Ruler, How Napoleon Seized Power and Crowned Himself Emperor of France. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to History Stories Dose so you never miss the next chapter of history.